Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Well, the NFL draft is in the books, and of course, we need to do our first post draft 3-round rookie mock. Going to be joined again by Jason DeRienzo. You guys know the drill if you've been a subscriber of the channel. Thank you for your support over this rookie scouting season. It has been fun. We're going to do some rookie content here for the next month or so, and then we are quickly going to be turning to the 2026 rookie class scouting. So enjoy the mock draft. Let's get to the show. It's going to be interesting. Jason, let's just get right into the rookie mock, our first post-draft rookie mock. I've been kind of looking at some previous mocks that have been happening since after the draft. I mean, the values are just all over the place. It really is. And when you do when you do drafts this early after the NFL draft, you're really, for those people out there that have the leagues, and we've said it before, you know, it's nice to have a little time after the NFL draft to do your rookie drafts and let things settle in. But I know there's people out there that are doing their drafts right after the draft, the same weekend as the draft. That's kind of nuts. But we're going to do a 3-round super flex tight end premium. You guys watching on YouTube, you can actually see the draft board. I'm sure everyone knows what the draft board is because they were watching the draft this past weekend. But I'm going to take the first spot, and I think the consensus overall, the safest pick in this draft, going to the Raiders. He was mocked there for a long time. It happens. I like the fit. I love the opportunity. I believe the Raiders were last in rushing last year. Ashton Genty with the first pick. I think he's most likely the consensus 101. I haven't seen very many rookie mocks out there where he is not the first pick. So we're getting off to a chalky start here. You got the next pick, bud.
Yeah, this one's going to be an easier one for me as well because I'm going to go with the super flex scoring, and I am going to take Cameron Ward, the first overall pick in 2025 NFL draft, going to the Tennessee Titans. There's a lot of upside with him. You know, I think there's untapped mobility that he can harness going into this upcoming season using his feet and his arm to get me some fantasy points. And for that, I feel really good about taking Cam Ward, who's definitely the surest quarterback at this point to start year one for his team.
Yeah, and they had a pretty solid offensive draft too. They plucked
They
a
did.
lot
Yeah.
of receivers. I think the Tyler Lockett just signed with the Titans, didn't he? So they were
Yes, they
doing
did.
everything they can to surround him with talent. Like we talked about earlier in the podcast, I think he is probably going to be the day one starter for the next season. So this is where it's going to get interesting. I've seen Omarion Hampton here. He seems to be the 103 lock, but I'm going to get a little spicy here, and I'm going to go with Trevion Henderson going to the New England Patriots. So let the comments begin and saying how off base that I am. It doesn't matter. Stevenson, I just think he fumbled so many times last year. New coach, new OC. The OC that used to be there is back, and he loves throwing the ball out of the backfield. And I think that plays right into Henderson's skill set. So a lot of people are thinking he's going to be the guy they throw in on third downs and stuff like that. But I don't believe so. I think he is going to get the rock often. Yeah, he's going to share the backfield with Stevenson, but most of these running backs that we're seeing in the first round here are going to be in some sort of committee early on. Maybe Genty could be the exception. But Trevion Henderson here, I like the skill set. I like his ability. I think he's a great pass protector too. And I just like that ascending offense a lot up there in New England. I know they got some receivers in this draft, but I'm going to go Trevion Henderson, go a little spicy here early with the third pick.
No argument here, man. I mean, he was my RB2 going into the draft, and I think that's actually a really good spot for him, especially with that pass catching upside. And he's a good pass blocker, and that will help him stay on the field. So I think that's a solid pick. And I am going to go with a Marion Hampton with the 104. And going to the Chargers, I love it with Jim Harbaugh. We know Harbaugh loves to run the ball. They need a guy like this who can take a full workload, which he can do. And Hampton should just hit the ground running in this offense. And that pass catching upside is definitely going to be on full display because I think they're going to want to use him in the pass game. And he's a powerful back. He's going to be able to generate yards. Fantasy football, I'm all for it. So Hampton here going to the Chargers at 104 in this mock.
Yep, and I could see that Henderson is a top 5 pick. So maybe I took him a little early, but I still feel good about it, Jason. With the 5th pick in the first round, I'm going to go Travis Hunter. All right, there is a risk. Coach comes out after the draft, says he's playing wide receiver primarily, and I'm hoping that he does, and he sticks there. But he's arguably the best route runner, space creator in this class. So I'm making the assumption that again they are looking for explosive pieces down there in Jacksonville with a whole new regime down there, and they are going to get on the field. Now, a lot of people are concerned about Brian Thomas Jr. being the wide receiver one, but I kind of like that for Hunter even better because he's not going to get that immediate coverage for the best corners on the other side of the ball. So love Travis Hunter here. If he stays on offense, he's going to be worth the pick here at the fifth with the fifth pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that pick, honestly. And in the IDP league, just he's a cheat code because he is getting the combination of defensive
Mm.
and offensive points.
Oh yeah.
Sleeper and MFL just said that. So he's a 101 in some of these IDP leagues.
Oh, I'm
So I
sure.
totally get the value in those. So I'm gonna go with the number one wide receiver that's on the board right now, going to the Carolina Panthers and Tet McMillan. I could go with the fourth best running back, but I'm gonna go with the number one receiver that's here. And I like the fit, man. Bryce Young is going to be looking to Tet quite a bit. He's got that outstanding catch radius. I think he's going to be very friendly for Bryce Young, who's still trying to build that confidence and build on the resume from what he did last year, developing a lot better than what we expected. And Ted could be that number one receiver that just molds into that role. So I like Ted here with this pick.
Yeah, he has a great opportunity. Let's hope the Panthers get it right this time in the wide
Yes.
receiver room.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, this is about where he's coming out here in earlier mocks as well. So with the seventh pick, I'm gonna go with Quinshon Judkins. This is the running backs. This is the year, everybody. You want to get your running backs. It looks like we have 3 or 4 in 2026, but it's not going to be nearly as deep. So if you need running backs, this is the draft to get them. A good landing spot. He's like Nick Chubb 2.0. Now we know they drafted Dylan Sampson, and that could take some of the shine off Judkins, but I'm not going to let that worry me. Judkins is going to be a bell cow. They love running the ball in Cleveland, and their whole quarterback situation is up in the air. So he is going to be fed the rock, I think, a lot, like in Quinshon Judkins with that toughness, physicality. I think he is a really good fit in Cleveland.
Yeah, I like that fit a lot. I think he's going to be a workhorse there. With the 108, I'm going to go with Tyler Warren to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have been trying to find a consistent tight end in a room where they've been drafting and signing, and I think finally they got their guy in Tyler Warren. And this is also the type of tight end that can absolutely help out their quarterback, whether it's going to be Anthony Richardson or somebody else who they bring in for competition. I just think that this is going to be the perfect safety valve for anybody that is there, and especially the versatility that he provides. I like it for fantasy, and I like it for the Colts.
I'm blown away that you left your beloved Bears tight end on the board for me here with the
It's a
ninth
target
pick.
share thing.
I
So
know it's a
target share
target
thing.
share thing. And listen, I get it because I'm going to be, putting out my, I did already for my day one landing spot show on the YouTube channel. And Colson Loveland, man, he has a lot of targets, right? A lot. You got Luther Burden there now. So he is going to be competing with Cole Kmet. I mean, they are trying to support Williams as much as possible, bringing in another pass catcher. So it's going to be really interesting to see actually what his target share is. You bring up a good point there. Nonetheless, you have to draft the talent here. You can't get too
Oh
hung up
yeah,
on that
absolutely.
stuff right now. And he is, my tight end 2 in the class. So tight end premium league here. This is about where he's going off in the rookie mocks that I've looked at too. So Colston Loveland with the 9th pick in the first round.
I like it. With the 10th pick, I'm going to go with Caleb Johnson to the Steelers, who just landed in the perfect scheme with that outside run scheme that he ran really well with Iowa. Now he's going to be on the Steelers, where they have been working to improve that offensive line throughout the years. I think he fits like a glove. I've comped him to like a Le'Veon Bell type, and sure enough, here he is with the Steelers. And I think there's going to be a lot of upside with him, with the potential that he could have in this offense. So Caleb Johnson at pick 110.
I like it a lot. He should be getting the ball a ton down there in Pittsburgh. So this is where the teardrop happens in the running back, right? This is where the running backs, I believe, the teardrop happens. It was kind of that pre-draft, and here we are now. And I'm going for it, man. I can't help it. I'm going RJ
Do
Harvey.
it.
All right. I have to. Again, if you're in a running back needy team, the landing spot is phenomenal. Sean Payton has a good history, even though he's going to be 24 years old, like we talked about earlier. The guy is going to be featured in this offense a lot. And the offense has got good surrounding pieces with Bo Nix. The guy can catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit. Shifty back was really the surprise of the draft. So he has vaulted up rookie draft ranks across the board, and rightfully so. you get that kind of draft capital round 2 in a great spot. Denver was one of the ideal landing spots with them letting Javonte Williams go to Dallas. Now it is pretty much there with Aldrick Estime and him, and could be the pound and ground. I think he's going to be the guy that looks for explosive plays in Sean Payton's offense. So I'm going to take a swing with him here with the 11th pick in the first round.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with RJ Harvey with that 11th pick. With the next pick and the last pick in this first round, I'm going to use that super flex scoring and take advantage of Jackson Dart going to the New York Giants. I love the fact that he does not have to start right away, which is probably why it's also a value. I'm getting him this late in the first round in this kind of scoring system, but he needs to sit and learn. There's definitely
Mm-hmm.
some development that he needs. And I am just thrilled to know that it could be like we talked about earlier, like the Jordan Love sitting, learning, and the next thing you know, someone who I had question marks about is actually performing much better because they had that opportunity to not be pressured into the starting role right away. So he's got the legs and the upside for fantasy football. He's got the arm and the intangibles. Give me Jackson Dart with this last pick in the first round.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will be surprised that he lasted this long in a super flex, but we have to not lose sight of
Yeah,
the fact that first round quarterbacks are not slam dunks. Can you pick it? Right?
correct.
We've seen them before,
Right.
so it all depends on what you like. If you like the spot, if you like the value, where you are with your team construction and the needs. So that rounds out our first round. I'm going to go start off the second round here, and I'm going to go wide receiver room. I'm going Matthew Golden. I really like the spot of Green Bay. I really do. I think the team is littered with a lot of Jags. I think Jaden Reed is a nice player, but other than that, Christian Watson can't stay healthy. And I think the rest of the players, Wicks was a name people seem to get excited about for a little bit of time, but I still think they're looking for their true wide receiver one. And I think Matthew Golden can fill that role. I like the fit with Love. And so I'm going to take him here with the first pick in the second round.
I like that fit as well. With the 202, I'm going to go with Jaden Higgins to the Houston Texans, teaming up with CJ Stroud, going to be playing opposite of Nico Collins. And Jordan Reed, ESPN analyst, said that he is a clone of Nico Collins. Well, that sounds good to me. And I feel like this might actually be a nice value for a guy in this type of system with that kind of quarterback. So give me Jaden Higgins with the 202.
Yeah, I like it. That was a good selection. We're going to have a run on wide receivers now that
Yeah.
I think tier one running backs have all been selected. I'm going to go Luther Burden here with the third pick in the second round, going to your beloved Bears. People are concerned about the target share, and rightfully so. There are a lot of mouths to feed. Roma Dunze, DJ Moore is there, Cole Kmet. You got Swift out of the backfield. So, but I think they drafted this kid. How do you feel about him being a Bears fan? How did you like that draft selection?
I absolutely love it. I mean, he's going
Mhm.
to fill right into that Keenan Allen role, and there might be more targets than we
Think
expect.
yeah,
He's that kind of guy you just get in space, and Ben Johnson loves a guy like that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's they might
exactly.
just be trying to mold him that way.
Yeah. He got the ball a lot around the line of scrimmage and everything,
Yep.
so he's gonna be a good safety valve, I think, for Caleb Williams. Your pick, buddy. Fourth pick in the second round. Who you got? Another wide receiver run?
Gotta do it, man, and I'm gonna go with Emeka Egbuka to the Bucks, and this one was a bit puzzling to me because they got Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and now Emeka Egbuka, who are all slot receivers, very similar skill sets, so I don't know what to make of this, but I am banking on the talent, and talent will rise, and, I gotta think that the Bucks have a plan for this particular type of player, so Emeka Egbuka, you're probably gonna have patience with, but,
Yeah.
I think he will pay dividends in a year or 2.
Yeah, you still have to draft the talent here in the middle of the second round. You
Absolutely.
can't go. We're not at the landing spots mean everything phase of the draft just yet.
Correct.
Usually, the first two rounds are the talent before it really starts to drop off. I'm going to continue the wide receiver run, and I got to take Trey Harris. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better landing spot than going to the
Oh.
Chargers. Super productive, another fifth year senior, getting great draft capital. This is going to be a really good fit. Lad McConkey kind of works the inside, and this is the big X receiver that they need. Quentin Johnston is kind of not going to pan out. So Trey Harris should come in, be an immediate starter. Thinking 700-800 yards year one with 6-7 touchdowns is kind of projection that I have for him. But Trey Harris, I think, is going to get involved early in that offense. Great landing spot, great system.
Yeah, great landing spot. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't, be upset if anybody took Trey Harris over Mecca or Luther Burden because it
Hmm.
makes total and absolute sense. But I am going to stop the wide receiver run here, and I'm going to take a tight end, and I'm going to go with Elijah Arroyo to the Seattle Seahawks. Arroyo is one that I am actually trying to diversify the way I draft because I'm drafting in the back end of a lot of tight end premium leagues, and I'm skipping over Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, which may sound crazy, and grabbing some of these running backs and aiming for Elijah Arroyo and Mason Taylor, honestly, because I want to make sure I get shares. I think he's that talented, and I think it's Clint Kubiak is there, who's done dramatic good job with the tight end group and the Saints, and when he was with the Vikings back in the early 2000s, getting Tyler Conklin involved. So I like this opportunity for Arroyo and in tight end premium fantasy scoring.
Yeah, I saw an interview. They're pretty excited about having him, thinking that he can play
I
X
think,
receiver
yeah,
as
I
well.
think he could
So
do really well. Yep.
I think he's going to be getting on the field early and often. That's good value here in the middle of the second round in a tight end premium league. I'm going back to the running back room. I'm going to go Scam Cadaboo. Man, he just looks like a tough New York physical giant. Just the way he plays. I think it's a good fit.
Yes.
Tyrone Tracy, you and I have been talking about it all off season. He is just, I think, if a stopgap. I think they are going to put in Cam Scattaboo, and those two are going to be the 1-2 punch. But good landing spot, should be a starter week 1 this year, upcoming. Like his game, like his physicality, catch the ball out of the backfield. He's just a true football player. I'm really excited to see his career because he's not the most athletic guy, but you just love the intangibles, the physicalness. So
Hmm.
really excited to see him get stuffed when they play my Philadelphia Eagles twice a year.
Yeah, I love the pick. I've came around on him. I told you that. And honestly, where he
Hmm.
got picked, it's like a really super late third rounder, if you want to look at it that way. So
Yeah.
I like that. I am going to go with pick 208 with Kyle Williams, a guy who
Mm.
I had talked about on Don't Leave a Draft Without on one of our episodes. And I think he got a nice spot with the Patriots. I like the release packages. He's a good route runner. He's got the speed. The only thing that was holding me back was some of the play strength and physicality throughout his route tree, which he will have time to work on. The Patriots, I think they have a plan when they drafted Kyle Williams, and they are looking for a guy to finally show up, and it would be great if it was him. And I love the quarterback situation with Drake May, so they could have a nice connection at a young age.
Yeah, he had some vertical plays on his college tape, but the majority of his
Yes, he
film
did.
was definitely intermediate, kind of like the Luther Burden role, a lot around the line of scrimmage, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
might just be really looking to use that. It's going to be he's one rookie that I'm really interested to see. He was just not somebody that I watched the film and just fell in love with, and so it'll be interesting to see what kind of career. Hopefully, the New England Patriots got it right because they whiffed last year pretty bad on a couple
I
players.
know.
Jack
Yeah.
Besh, I'm going to take here the ninth pick in the second round, going to the Raiders. I think it's a good spot there. Of course, what's the tight end's name? Just Brock Bowers, right? He's going to be
Uh,
the primary guy. But you
Bowers
got
and Bear.
Genty there
Yeah.
now. They got a decent Jacoby Myers, I think, is their leading receiver. Quietly had 1,000 yards, so they definitely need some more talent there. And Jack Besh, he was one of my favorites, sleepers, not sleepers, but guys that I wanted to make sure I came out of in rookie drafts. So Jack Besh, love his physicals, toughness. I think he's Raider tough. They always have that macho feel about that franchise. He should
Yeah.
fit right in there with his toughness and ball skills.
Yeah, he was Mr. Consistent at the Senior Bowl and had a huge rise. And another guy who had a huge rise at the Senior Bowl is Jalen Noel, who I'm going to select here right after Bash going to the Houston Texans. And as excited as I am of what Jaden Higgins could bring, I like the role of what
Mhm.
Noel could bring too. I mean, Dell doesn't look like he might play this year, and I don't know about his NFL
Mm.
future. So they might be looking for that smaller, quick, gadgety guy that can create separation, navigate through zone, be a seam splitter, get deep. He could do it all. And I kind of like that with this particular offense and what CJ Stroud might be trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly to a guy like this. So Jalen Noel here going to the Houston Texans. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great spot too, and I think the
Yeah.
Houston Texans are doing it right. I think they realize CJ Stroud took a little bit of a step back last year, bad offensive line. but he really needed, especially when Nico Collins was out a couple games, they really struggled passing the ball. So I think they're doing the
Mhm.
right thing, surrounding Stroud with as much talent as
Absolutely.
possible. So I'm doing Mason Taylor here, going to the Jets. Not thrilled with the landing spot just because it's the Jets, but as far as target share and the ability for people to catch the ball on that team, Justin Fields is going to play a big role in Mason Taylor's success this year. It's going to be interesting, but I love the talent at LSU. He's probably there's a teardrop happening very shortly in the tight end. So I want to make sure in a tight end premium league, I come out with one of these top 4 tight ends for sure. So I think it's pretty good value here at the end of the second round in a tight end premium league to get Mason Taylor.
Yeah, it is good value, and honestly, he's a solid player who's gonna play a long time in the league, so, I think that's a great pick, and with this last pick in the second round, I'm gonna go the tight end position too, and I'm gonna go with Terrence Ferguson, who got drafted by the Rams, and I like what the Rams do with the tight end position. I mean, he could absolutely have a role in this offense. They're trying to re-solidify, their playmakers with, Kupp moving on and, Puka Nacua is, finally healthy, and he was back at the end of the season, which is great. But I think they're looking for more, and Terrence Ferguson could bring an interesting dynamic to that offense. So I am happy to take him in this tight end premium scoring at the back end of the second.
Yeah, McShay we trust when it comes to offensive
Yeah,
players in fantasy, right? So
absolutely.
it's a good spot. So that rounds out round 2. So I'm going to kick off round 3 and take Jalen Milroe. We talked about him earlier, on the
Mhm.
podcast, as far as what a great spot that he finds himself in. I think it's great. He's going to sit. Still needs to develop. He's certainly got the intangibles, the traits, the big arm. Now he's just got to work on the mental processing part of the game and get the ball out of his hands with some a little bit more touch and accuracy in the middle parts of the field. But the coach, Mike McDonald, came from the Baltimore Ravens, where he saw Lamar Jackson every day and saw that
Mhm.
another quarterback came into the league that was maybe a little raw in passing, but had those athletic traits. So I think he's in a great spot not to
Ah.
have to sniff the field this year, but in a super flex, I'm still a believer that maybe he'll be a consistent dynasty asset, or at least my 3 Devi shares that I have are hoping that he becomes a consistent dynasty asset in the future.
My 2 shares as well, and honestly, if you didn't take him here, I was going to. So, that's a great pick, and I am gonna go with another quarterback in Tyler Shuck, who, got drafted probably a lot earlier than some might have expected, and the Saints have a lot of faith in this kid. I like the opportunity too. He's not gonna be asked to start right away, even though he does have enough experience playing so many years in college where if he was asked to start, he'd probably do a pretty solid job. So there's the upside of Tyler Shuck. I don't think they're going to want him running around with the injury history, but he's got the arm. I love the progressional reads that he makes. I think he could do a lot of good things. And they have been trying to surround their quarterback with a better cast over the past 2 years. So Tyler Shuck at the beginning of the third with the second pick. I like this value in a super flex format.
Yeah, so I like it too. It's interesting he got round 2 draft capital, and
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler, I guess,
Gotta
is
have a plan, taking
yeah,
that
gotta
much.
have a plan. Yeah. So another quarterback that's going to sit for a little bit, which is always a good
Yep.
thing. So we're in round 3, guys, and this is where you're taking all these players are most likely going to be backups, part of committees,
Mhm.
wide receiver threes, and we're all hopeful for rounds 3 through 5 that we hit on a couple of these players. I'm going to go with Bashal Tutin from Jacksonville. Again, new coaching, whole new front office organization in there trying to bring in some excitement, some explosion for players, and Tootin certainly has that. I'm going to take him here with the 3rd pick in the 3rd round. Now I don't know what that means. I think ETN's still going to start. I know you got Tank Bigsby there as well, but again, these guys want their own players, so expect him to get sprinkled in, maybe be a flex player in Dynasty for us.
Yeah, those explosive plays could pay off big as well because he's got that speed. With the 4th pick in the 3rd round, I'm gonna go with Tay Felton going to the Minnesota Vikings, and, he did get 3rd round draft capital, so that is good to see, and I know they signed Rondale Moore, and they're probably just looking for that explosive guy that they can get in space and be a deep threat with some, with that speed, and Moore just hasn't done anything during his time at with the Cardinals, so hopefully being at the Vikings, they're expecting a little bit more, but it could be Tay Felton, and honestly, I wanna make sure I got a guy in an offense like this where they like to utilize their playmakers, that he is on my roster, and I could plug him in if he does get that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, he's going to be fighting for targets a lot. So
He is. Yeah.
they're big, and a lot of these players in
Patience is
this
the
round.
key in the 3rd round.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to take Dylan Sampson with the 5th pick in the 3rd round here, going to the Cleveland Browns. I know that was a big buzzkill for a lot of people, knowing that Judkins
Mhm.
also got drafted there. But I think Cleveland is going to be leaning heavy, heavy. It's on the run game. It's what I said when I selected Judkins earlier in the draft. And who knows, Dylan Sampson catching the ball out of the backfield. A lot of these teams are going backfields. So both of these guys could legitimately get their hands on the ball 10 to 15 times a game. So depending on how they're just revamping their whole backfield right now. So Jerome Ford owners, I'm sorry. Looks like your time in the is over. But Dylan Sampson, I think, has got the explosion plays to warrant getting drafted here in the middle of the 3rd round.
Yeah, absolutely. With the 6th pick in the 3rd round, I'm gonna again take advantage of the tight end scoring, and I'm gonna go with Harold Fannin going to the Browns. That But I'll tell you what, they double dipped at quarterback, they double dipped at running back, and they got a tight end, Harold Fannin,
Mhm.
who is one of the best in college football. So obviously, they're looking to revamp this offense, and I want to make sure that I have a guy like Harold Fannin who would be available in case anything ever happened to David Njoku, the way they use that tight end in their scoring system. So Harold Fannin here with this pick.
Yeah, JUCO is a unrestricted free agent next year, so they're probably
There
planning
you go.
for the future. You might not see a lot of Fannin this year on the field, but he could be a great stash for future seasons. I'm going to go with Pat Bryant with the 7th pick in the 3rd round here, going to Denver again, getting, I believe, round 3 draft capital. Looking at my board here, yes, round 3 draft capital. Outside of Cortland Sutton, got Marvin Mims. I think they're looking for another player. And again, I'm going to trust Sean Payton here, drafting this guy in the 3rd round. I expect him to get on the field as a rookie as long as he can create space and is physical enough to play. So I'm going to take Pat Bryant here, the 7th pick. I think there's a good opportunity with Bo Nix. And I'm not sure what Sutton's contract is, but he's not going to be the wide receiver 3 on this team. But I'm going to take him here with the 7th pick in the 3rd round.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with a guy going to Sean Payton's offense in the middle of the round 3. So I like that pick. With the 8th pick in the 3rd round, I'm going to go with Trevor Etienne going to the Carolina Panthers. I honestly think he's better than Chuba Hubbard, and I think he's better than Rico Dowdle. Just didn't get the draft capital I was hoping for, but I do believe in the talent, and I love the explosiveness. I think he's got pass catching upside, and I like what I saw from him at Georgia, especially in the last part of last season. So Trevor Etienne. I'm not sure if he's I'm not sure if he's going to get a ton of opportunity early on, but he could be one of those guys that finally comes on toward the end of the season and finds a role. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I like the pick. You and I have both been high on Trevor Etienne. Landing spot's
Yeah.
not too shabby. I'm going to go with a landing spot, really specific pick for me. Jordan James going to the San Francisco 49ers. He got round 5 draft capital, so the odds are not great. But with the, San Francisco, they draft running backs late, and they somehow always seem to get on the field at
I
least at
know.
some point in time. Then they usually get injured or maybe replaced. But Jordan James, they really went heavy, the 49ers, on defense. And he was one of the only offensive players, I believe, taken in the draft. So Jordan James here, I love the landing spot. And we all love our San Francisco running backs. Let's not kid ourselves. So,
Yeah, yeah, it was very interesting. They went Jordan James. They went what's his name, Curtis Rourke in the 7th round, and then they got Tez Johnson in the 7th round too. So they grabbed
mm,
their offensive skill players later on. But I do like that fit. I mean, you can't go wrong with a 49er running back. Woody Marks,
your
guy that I
boy.
like. I'm going to take him with the 10th pick, and I could not believe it when I saw the Texans gave up a future 3rd round pick to trade up and grab him. So obviously they like him. Obviously they feel like there's a plan that they can use him in this offense. I mean, when I see a future 3rd 2026 pick
Mm,
being drafted for a guy like this, I'm thinking, okay, there's something here. So Woody Marks, who I did like for a while watching him at college, definitely intrigued with what he could bring with this Texans offense, and Joe Mixon getting a bit older, and they're trying to figure out what to do next.
yeah, it's not a bad spot. Not a bad
No,
spot.
no,
I'm gonna go with a guy that doesn't have a bad spot either. That's Mr. Jaden Blue here with
no, not at all.
11th pick in the 3rd round. So to go on the Dallas Cowboys. They got Javonte Williams there, local kid from Texas. I like
Mhm.
his game. Little undersized, but he's a home run hitter, good out of the backfield. I think he's got some of the best vision, the running backs in this class. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he is a consistent flex option for us in Dynasty. Great opportunity, local kid. Like it a lot. Jaden Blue with the 11th pick in the third round.
Huge opportunity. I mean, this could be a steal with what he could probably deliver. So yeah, I like that pick a lot. And with Mr. Irrelevant in this mock
Mm,
draft, man, I can't get over that this kid got third round draft capital, I believe it was going to the Detroit Lions. Saw him at the Senior Bowl. He was one of my sleeper guys that I talked about during the draft process, and that is Isaac Tesla. Holy crap. I
mm.
mean, he looked phenomenal at the Senior Bowl. I just didn't know much about him at that point. Popped off at the combine. I mean, bigger kid running in the 4.4s with a 40-inch vertical. I mean, just really did great. So the Lions are absolutely going for athletic upside and a big receiver. It would be cool to know that Ben Johnson was there because I feel a little bit better about knowing how he'd be deployed in that offense. But now it's an unknown. But with that kind of draft capital with a kid like this, I feel good taking him with the last pick in the third.
It's a good fit for Detroit given their other players, right? Amon-Ra St.
Yes.
Brown is, tough, physical, kind of works the intermediate, can win everywhere on the field. But then you got Jamison Williams, who's really super thin and doesn't have that physicality. So this guy could be just a mauler. Good spot to,
Yeah. Yep.
with the Lions. So like that pick a lot. All right, there rounds out the draft. We're not going to do rounds 4 and 5 because they are just long shots, the majority of them. Shador Sanders not selected. What do we think about that?
Yeah. I think it's the right move. I
Yeah.
mean, when are you ever gonna start him? I don't
Yeah.
even know when the Cleveland Browns are ever gonna start him. So I don't want to find out on my fantasy roster with a pick I gotta make.
There you go. So hope you enjoyed
Yeah.
that draft, everybody.